Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to talk potatoes. It is very hot today. We are in 5A and it was freezing last week, but now of course it has to be in the upper 80s and it's going to go down to 41 again this week. But hey, we need to do something with these potatoes that I put in the basement. So now I want to show you guys what happens when you save your potatoes, the ones that you grow, the ones that you slave for, and you put them in the basement thinking, oh, I'm going to use these next year. Great. All you have to do is cover them all up in the darkness, and then they'll be ready for spring. Well, let me show you what I've got, because you know what? In other parts of the country, in other climates where it's warmer, you can start growing your potatoes earlier. So maybe you don't have the kind of situation that I have. Let's first talk about the potatoes I ordered. I ordered these potatoes, and you know what? I had them in the box. I opened the box, and then I tossed them like this, and I just threw them in the basement. I didn't care about them, which is really sad because, I spent some decent money on these. Now, what are these? I was honestly pretty surprised about what I got, because I ordered something called mini tubers. Well, I just thought that the potatoes themselves would be teeny tiny, small, like some sort of salt potato. Hold on, I have to get something to cut this with. Okay, salt potatoes. In case you're not from Northeast, salt potatoes are just teeny tiny potatoes that we boil them and just put a bunch of salt on them, skins and all. And that's kind of what I was looking for. I wasn't really looking for itsy bitsy. Now look what I got going on here. Okay, itsy bitsy teeny. You guys see that? They're so small in there. That's what they looked like when I got them. Will they grow something? Is it too late for them? I don't know. I'm going to plant them just like this. And I suppose we'll see, won't we? Now, I have a bunch like that were these teeny tiny, all the same, mini tubers, Adirondack blue. All right. Now, you're probably thinking, that's not going to work. That's crazy. They're chitting, all over the place, right? The little word that we use when we see a bunch of roots. And check it out. Look at this. You guys see what I got going on here? Yeah, I did the bad thing, didn't I? Oh, well, here we go. We'll just plant those too. Then I've got normal size from Territorial. And look, I'm going to have to fight my way through that, aren't I? Now, let's check out what else I've got going on here. Here's some newspapers and things from my basement. Okay, let's toss these aside. Toss it aside. And what do we have now? We have this. What? Look at that. Look at that. All that huge growth. Well, I plant them this way. Surprise. And they produce potatoes. No worries. So, hey, if you've got stuff like this and you think, oh no, I screwed up. What am I to do? It's okay, because you can plant these, and guess what? You're going to get potatoes from them. So let's go plant them. Okay, so what I didn't tell you guys is that I'm not planting these potatoes in ground. I'm using fabric containers. Let me show you. Okay, I just have these. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these, and I'm going to plant all the way down here. Do you see there's some raised beds on the left? Those are asparagus. And on the right behind them, I'm going to put these potatoes. Now, I know that shade on potatoes, like this, but in the morning, this gets direct sun, and later in the season, sun does come straight overhead. So that's not going to be an issue. And besides, towards the end of the summer, potatoes, they don't like heat. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I'm thinking that someday when my asparagus grows over here, that there will be shade a little bit and it will be fine. Probably more like a filtering sort of shade going on over there. And besides, they're just containers. I can move them wherever I want to. So if in the future it doesn't work for me, who cares? I'll just move them someplace else. Could be in the middle of the yard for all that matters. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to call this thingy Potato Place. Potato Place. It'll be lovely. A whole line of potatoes in a row, don't you think? Okay, maybe not. Anyway, so let's talk about the soil, because there's all these people saying, ooh, special soil, you've got to have this, you have to have that, all that stuff. But you know what? The truth is, what soil do we have? Do you know what soil you have? Do I know? No, because you know what? I didn't test it. I didn't send it out to some lab to be tested. I'm guessing here, okay? Just guessing. I ordered all of the soil that I have from a local supplier. They told me 3-year leaf compost in there and soil. Not sure. So, but you know what? Sometimes you guys ever just toss potatoes someplace and then you go out there, and all of a sudden you find a potato plant, tons of potatoes growing. But yet the ones that you're loving and caring for and giving all the nutrients, so we think, are dying or dead or not successful. Well, you know what? Let's not worry about this. Let's not sweat it, even though we are sweating today. So instead, what we're going to do is use the soil that I got from those little friends, right? And also in my soil, I'm going to put a little composted rabbit manure, and I'm also putting in there one of my favorites, rice hulls. Why the rice hulls? Well, in potatoes, you need something that keeps the soil loose and loamy, not compact. So they at least are growing, can easily grow through it all. No rocks. Nobody wants rocks, or the potatoes don't want rocks, or any other root vegetable. So we don't want any of that. What I'm going to worry about mostly is the compacted soil. Now I'm also going to add a little bit of bone meal into it when I go to plant this stuff. I'm going to show you guys what I got going on. I've got a couple little wheelbarrows here. This one here is that stuff I told you about, that garden soil. I also have some perlite in here and just a tiny bit of rice hulls. You can't even see. Maybe I should add more. Maybe I will. And then I've got over here this little kind of composted rabbit manure. But you guys know that rabbit manure is a cold manure. It doesn't need to be composted anyway. But this is what we got to work with. All right, so hey, let's get planting the basement taters. So next, what I'm going to do is fill the left container at least a third of the way full, because what I'm going to do is layer these potatoes. 2 are going to be on the bottom layer, and then 2 will be on the top layer. Before I put those potatoes in, I like to sprinkle around a tablespoon of bone meal in there, and then I just mix it up on the surface. And now I'm going to plant the first potato on one side, on the left-hand side at the top, and then the other one at the right-hand side lower, okay, a bit lower. And so what I'm gonna do on the other layer is the opposite. So here I'm just going to put 3, 2, 3, 4, whatever, shovelfuls of the soil in, and then I'm going to repeat the same process with a tablespoon of the bone meal, and then just organize those potatoes in the opposite quadrants as the first layer. So what I'm going to do here is keep filling this container up until an inch or so at the top, because what I'm going to do after that is put an inch of rice hulls on it in hopes of retaining some moisture there. Now, when you use containers, the pro about them is that there are no rocks. You can determine the soil. That's great. And you can find all your potatoes. But a con is that they dry out quickly. So in the heat of the summer, these will need to be watered every single day. So make sure you're checking on that and don't forget about your potatoes sitting out there. Whew, we got a lot done here today. Now what I want to show you guys is that I put some rice hulls as mulch on the top of these bags. And look at this bag here. Those potatoes are sticking up. They're sticking up right out of that stuff there, the dirt. So, but you know, that's okay because I've done this before and I still get potatoes. All right, so we got most of those potatoes planted. We still have a little more on the end to do, but we'll get that done in the next couple days. See what we got here? All right, so we'll be done soon and then come back with us later on and you can check out Potato Place. Until next time.